Let's discuss this now with David Brown. He's an astrophysicist at the University of Warwick and joins me now from the UK. Thank you so much for coming on to this news hour. Many in the scientific world very excited about this project. It's going to take some time, though, I understand, before we get any real information from this telescope. What are scientists hoping to achieve with this?
Good morning. Yes, it's going to take about 6 months before we see the first scientific images coming from James Webb. That's because after its 1 month travel time, we need some time to test the various systems. It is, as was said in the report, a complicated instrument. We need to make sure that everything is working exactly as intended. Now, some of the science we're hoping to do with James Webb are things like, as was mentioned there, exploring some of those planets elsewhere in the Milky Way to see how many Earth-like planets there might be. That tells us a little bit about what our solar system is like, whether our solar system is typical or whether we're a very atypical system. But we're also hoping to learn more about those very, very early stars and galaxies, the first ones that formed in the universe. Those will help us understand how we got from the very early universe to what we see now. There are many stages in that process that we don't fully understand yet.
Well, David, how is that going to help us now? I think a lot of people will look at this telescope and think, well, how is this, the information that we learn from this, how is it going to help me now in my everyday life and for future generations?
So with missions like this, it's not necessarily all about how the science developments help us in our everyday life. Yes, there are things we can learn from this that affect or that change our understanding of our own place in the universe. I mean, if James Webb does uncover that there are many, many Earth-like planets and that there is potential, quite a lot of potential for life, that changes our perspective, our understanding of how we fit into the Milky Way. But with big missions like this, a lot of the benefits to most of the world are in terms of the technology development. James Webb has been in development for decades at this point, and there are already spin-off technologies from it that are helping the medical profession, for example, in their day-to-day work. So it's not necessarily all about the science helping us, but also the technology.
Well, the Hubble telescope showed us that stars and galaxies were around long before we thought they were. And I think now a big question that many people will want to possibly have confirmed, or maybe it's just me, is there really life on other planets? I mean, surely we can't be the only life form out there.
Given what we know already about the number of planets that we found, thanks to missions like Kepler and TESS, it does seem unlikely. James Webb will help us push a little bit further into trying to answer that question. I don't think it will give us the final answers, and that's the exciting thing about science is when you find something new, there's always a new question to follow on from that, but it will help us to push a little bit closer to answering that ultimate question in many ways.
And David, critics, though, have said that this high price tag, I mean, $9–10 billion, could really have been used elsewhere, right here on Earth. We think just last week the World Food Programme said that they are billions short in trying to help starving children in Yemen and other countries ravaged by conflict. Do you think this is a fair criticism?
I think it's... I don't think it's an entirely fair criticism. I think it is a reasonable criticism and a reasonable question to ask. James Webb has gone through many budget reviews through its development and its life up to this point. It was, in fact, nearly cancelled on at least 2 occasions, thanks to budget overruns. It's never as simple as just taking money from a science project like this and devoting it to humanitarian projects. Governments always have trade-offs that they need to make, and I can't answer political questions really about where governments choose to spend their money.
David Brown, really appreciate your insight and your time live to us there from the UK. Thank you.